A lot of people say that social media was the worst thing to happen to people because at no point were we ever supposed to have this much access to people's thoughts and opinions. And I agree with that. But also, I like social media for those exact same reasons because you get to see what people think. You get to see how people feel about certain situations. And in particular, I'm thinking about the Cassie situation has come up again due to the interview that Charlemagne had with Carisha. Oh God, Carisha. See, I don't follow um, celebrities like that, especially not rappers and stuff like that. But anyway, Carisha. And one lady on Threads was posting about how she felt about women being complicit in situations like that. Like she couldn't believe how Carisha wrote a character letter for Diddy, especially when it was clear evidence showing how he beat on Cassie. And it was some other women on that same post talking about how she wasn't a victim and that she started those sexual activities to keep his interest. But this is a part of the reason why I hate black and white thinking, because people are so lazy when it comes to thinking in certain situations. Like it has to be one or the other, that they don't have empathy for people and don't think things through before they say it. I don't think so. Or maybe they do think it through and just feel so convicted to the thought that they have that they're just gonna be lacking empathy regardless. But just because she may have started those sexual activities to keep him interested does not mean she signed up to be beat and brutalized in the way that she was. Like, two things can coexist. Yes, there was a need for her to have some self-agency and some accountability for herself. And also, she was a victim. She was brutally beat. And a lot of people don't take into consideration the effect of fear on people when they're in those situations, especially someone who has allegedly had somebody's car blown up, who has money to make things happen to you and your family if you decide to speak up and advocate for yourself. So it's pretty hard not to be a victim when you have those things at play. And women, now, this is bad for me to say, but with some of the experiences that I've had in my life since being on this earth, when it comes to men and stuff like that, I am very grateful and thankful for the men who do not think that way. But also, because of some of the things I've had to experience at the hand of men, I don't really expect nothing more until they show me. So I will expect men to want to say a woman is not a victim in that situation and to imply that she deserved whatever she experienced because of that situation. But women, I really don't. And I think the reason why I don't might be because of the experiences that I have had. And I believe that some of these same women have had these experiences for themselves, but in some way along the line, somebody convinced them, or they convinced themselves based off what somebody else said to them, that they deserved it too. And that's why they can't see that Cassie was a victim, even though, yes, you can say she played a part in some of the stuff. You can say that she should have left sooner. But once again, you have to take into account everything. And by everything, this man's status and the access and stuff that he has to make things happen. Women who even think like that and move like that are the women that I was mentioning in videos a while ago about they're complicit in bad behavior and don't want people to speak up or speak out when they need to. it's always disappointing to see the lack of empathy, especially from women when we're more naturally nurturing. Men can be nurturing too, but that is women's most natural state, to be nurturing, because we carry kids, we birth, we give life. And I just, in a time when somebody is experiencing something that brutal in their darkest moments, those are not the moments to say, well, you deserve it because you didn't do XYZ, or you chose that because you didn't leave or do XYZ. Like, that is not helpful. And then, even if you are thinking that that's your thought process, do you ever question it? What do you think is helpful? That's one thing that I struggle with myself a lot on a daily basis, is I have to question my intent behind what I'm doing and what I'm saying to people. And when I come to the conclusion that it's not going to be helpful, especially if it's people that I care about, or especially if it's a situation where I'm trying to show empathy for a person in general, I'm not going to say it. But some people cannot contain and control themselves. And I really believe that's because whatever it is about the situation is making them uncomfortable because of something they've experienced and can't sit within themselves. And when it comes to situations like that, I will say we have come a long way. But I still feel like we have a long way to go. And I think I'm gonna watch the full episode to talk about it, because the last conversation that I seen right before coming here is people talking about how Clarissa was okay with being complicit in writing that letter because she wasn't getting the validation she needed, and people was piling on her with negativity too, and Diddy was able to manipulate her because of that. And I can kind of see that in a way. Again, I need to get full context about it, because I made a video without full context behind the Amy and Dwight Howard situation, so I don't want to do that again. But I can definitely see that. And one day I'll share about my experience, but I'm just going to share a little bit now. And the reason why I say I can kind of see her being manipulated is because I had an experience where I was deceived and manipulated, and I was venting and bemoaning the situation to a female who really didn't care about me, but she pretended like she did. But she did say something that stuck out to me. She said, the reason why this guy was able to deceive you and this other person in the way that he was able to deceive both of y'all is because manipulators like that can tell based off your personality how they can manipulate and deceive you into pretty much being that way. And when I say being that way, I mean like being complicit in their bad or egregious behavior. And again, that's not to say Carisha or even myself shouldn't have had accountability for ourselves or some self-agency in the situations. But even though that is a fact, it is still a fact, and it still does not excuse somebody from being a liar and a manipulator and just an awful human being. So I want to watch that full conversation for more context to kind of see where everybody else is coming from with it, and then I might make another video. But I just wanted to talk about that, mainly about how it's just so hard to see women getting so upset that they would vehemently, I don't think I'm saying that word right, but vehemently speak on another woman's pain and situation like that. It saddens me. It does. It really makes me sad. Like, you don't have to play into the woe is me game. But I do feel like it's helpful to understand two things can be true at once. She was a victim. I don't, besides people who are into what they call it, I can't even think of the name, dominatrix, something like that. Besides people who are into that stuff or into getting beat, I don't think that girl signed up to be kicked and all the stuff she was in that video with them in that hotel or whatever else went on that we didn't get to see. I don't think she signed up for that. And I really believe fear was driving her when it came to staying as long as she did. Because even in certain situations I have been in, and they were never to that extent. So I can't fully put myself in her shoes, but I know that I had some fear around some certain things when it came to speaking up and sharing things that I needed to share to be able to get myself out of certain situations. So I just wish people would do better when it came to that. Like, just do better. Because God forbid that you ever find yourself in the same situation that you are harshly judging people about. And that's all I have to share for now. I wasn't planning to make a heavy video tonight, but I just wanted to speak on that again. Oh, also, just on a lighter note, I went out to a game night. I mingled. Look at me getting out, being more social, working on my social skills. I have my name tag, and I talked to some people. I was engaging back and forth, good back and forth. So I'm proud of myself, and I'll let a few days go by before I share my experience with that tonight. But anyway, if you're new here, my name is Latrice. Here's why I think out loud. Reflect honestly, name patterns that keep us stuck. If anything here on my channel resonates with you, feel free to take what you need. If it doesn't, please feel free to leave it. If you feel like we're aligned, hit the subscribe button, the like button, the hype button, all the things, and I will be back in the next video.